on my moving average there. It's we're below it. We had a green candle and a red uh, long-tailed candle with a wick. I say wiki.
Google's into a tight pennant here off the 1 minute 200 period. Let's see if we get any boost out of that real quick. No,
Your
this looks
5 minute on
bearish.
SPY. Where's your SPY? Yep, there it
Yeah,
is.
this looks bearish on Google for sure.
I was just getting ready to tell you, look at your SPY. It's
Yep,
looking bearish to me.
bam. Snap through that 8 period. See ya. Can we get a trend day, please? That'd be nice. Say hi to YouTube. Hi, everybody.
Buddy, YouTube, how y'all doing out there?
Just a grindy Thursday morning.
I feel like all the moves lately are happening at that, pre-market time. Like everyone's just like makes those big like 3, 4, sometimes even $6 as of today, moves pre-market, and then you open up and the market doesn't do anything.
Yep, just flat and sideways. And that's a lot of times you'll see market makers pushing that stuff around in the futures, and it's just like Sig said, they go and hedge their negative gamma and do everything they can to keep the market in a range. The tighter, the better, and expire as many options worthless as they can out of the money. And then their other plan is to buy back a bunch of their open contracts to close, and that'll kind of push up volume on the options briefly, but then there'll be very little liquidity in the price action on the actual equities. So it kind of shifts things over to their ball, their court.
Yeah, that faked me out a little bit on that. I didn't wait. I should have waited until this candle closes on the 5.
All right, wife's going to see the doctor now. She's not feeling too good.
Sorry. No.
Hope she feels better.
Yeah, me too. Hope you're feeling better too. You were dealing with it as well, aren't you?
Yeah, I started coming down with it a little bit yesterday, and last night was a little lost sleep, but I'll get over it.
Man, this Tradeovate, they keep faking me out.
It's rough. That price action is so quick on that 10-second chart, dude. It's going to take some time to get that practice down, but when you do, man,
I'm not there. I have a 5, a 1, and a 30-second.
Yeah, it's
that'll work too.
so that 5-minute candle closed body inside of that 15. So
there it is, coming out of the regression channel.
It is.
So essentially, when you get down to it with Tradeovate, the candles don't look as clean on the 1 and 5 minute chart. So that's why I still use a SPY 1 and 5 minute chart to kind of watch for the setups, and then I'll trade that 10-second chart. What you can do though, you can start drawing lines on a 1 minute chart with Tradeovate and the MES, and have it all transferred over, so you can watch for setups on different patterns that you're seeing. You can trade those with the 10-second chart very efficiently if you're quick. And you're just looking for those little 3-pointers. You're not trying to swing for the fences. You're just scalping 3 points. If it moves 3 points and you got in at the right time, boom, take it. And then you can, since it's instant settlement, you can trade it over and over and over again. There's no PDT rules or anything applying to that. And you can just sit there and just rake in those 3-pointers over and over and over again, and that small account becomes a big account in a very short amount of time. So,
what do you mean 3-pointers?
So anytime you see a setup where you're expecting SPY to move 30 cents, you'll get a $3 move on the MES and the ES, and when you get that's 3 points. It moves 3 in points instead of dollars. It is dollars, but it's points. It's goofy, but you get you get 4 ticks per point. So when you're doing that, you get 12 ticks, and it's a significant enough amount of money per contract on the MES to just take the profit on it and wait for the next setup. and you can just trade them over and over and over again. There's your regression channel break. Nice. Give us something to trade. I think I'm going to try and find a decent dollar wide for like Tuesday or Wednesday expiration next week on SPY. See if we can find any way to set up a very cheap condor. And I would probably close that position tomorrow. I wouldn't keep it open more than overnight. If you're looking at Tuesday expiration, that is. WTN's kind of grinding, but watch for that push off the 200 period here. That thing's been pretty interesting because we're expecting at least some retracement of this gap down here. You know, we've kind of been sideways and flat for days, slowly grinding up to the control bars there. And if we get loose, the first control bar in that range goes to about $3.80, $4, and then the second one can take us up to like $5. So we'll see what we get on this thing. That dead cat bounce on the 14th was just perfect. That made every bit of that worth trading for me. And I'm going to go back and reference that one because that was pretty awesome. It was a really, really simple play. Basic wolf wave pattern setup. Very, very subtle, but if you know what you're looking for, you can find it. And nailed that stinking target to the freaking T. You could also just take your cursor and hover in the control candles to the left. And when I took this trade, I was able to buy at 290 on the way back up after this test here, and rode that to had a limit order at 350, and it nailed that. And then it peeked out of it and nailed the wolf wave. I still had some position size on, and then came back, tested support, ran back up to 340 briefly in that little wick there, and I closed a bunch more of that position, but I left 200 shares on out of 1,000 from the initial entrance. And the profit I made in that was, it was about $450, and that reduces the cost basis down to like 60. The average that I got sold on this wick right here, some of it sold just slightly above 340, some of it sold just slightly below 340, kind of put me at about a 63-cent per share cost basis on the remaining 200 shares. But if you round it, it just rounds to 360 or to 65 cents, so we'll just call it 65 cents. Easy peasy. Now I got a remaining position is virtually risk free. I mean, if my average cost on that is just 65 cents a share, if it starts to run away and starts to hit that $5, I plan on selling some covered calls, some covered $5 calls, at the money or in the money at that point. If it does hit that $5 bill, if not, I don't have to care. I can just profit it. As long as I profited above 65 cents, I'm still taking profit on it. I would say that $2 is the critical support on that thing. So if it starts to just smear itself down, I'll just sell into strength and get out. Not a big deal. But that's kind of tricky how you can use the equity itself, similar to a wheel trade, but you could use the equity itself to reduce your cost basis if you know where your scaling out points are. And if you do it right, you can have it to where you're basically sitting in a position on nothing but house money, they call it. And it's like having a free position, and plus it frees up your capital to go trade something else. So pretty cool how that can be done. All right, finally we're out of that stupid regression channel. I think we're going to run for that 392.50 area first. As long as it keeps up some momentum here.
$392.50. Are you getting that target from that 635 candle?
No, just looking at the retracement possibility in the regression channel itself, but I guess I can.
Okay. I was just curious.
Yeah, we can put it right there. 390.
Yeah, pin bar on the 1. into the just crossed the 200 in VWAP.
This is I like to call this the skewed Busby because it looks like an evening star, but it bounces off the 8 period. It usually owes you at least most of that previous bar. So like if you're scalping out on a 10-second chart, like 391.80 would be your target. And if you look at the base there, 391. It's not quite a 3-pointer, but freaking close on the ES. And that's the moves that'll just sit there and pay you all day long on that MES. Just scalping those in and out. Boom, target nailed. Just like that. So if you're trading candle for candle and you're tracking that 1-minute chart carefully, you can use it to maximize your returns on positions that you take on a 10-second chart, and you can find the exact time that 10-second chart's breaking above that 8 period to get in on that little trend that's inside of this 1-minute candle. And you can scalp it from one range to the other, or one pivot to the other, so to speak. Just drawing pivots on control bars from previous price action on a 1-minute chart, you can set them up. On a 10-second chart, you find those as typically you'll find a couple bars in that where you can set your limits. And it really makes it easy to scalp that 10-second chart. And I know Bud's practicing that with paper on the Tradovate account. And
Excellent, Bud.
once you get some experience there.
It takes practice, Bud. It takes time.
Yes, sir. And it'll just start to click, and you'll get it, dude. It's gonna blow your mind how easy price action is to trade on that 10-second chart.
And refer to that Bullish Bears wallpaper. Those 3 wallpapers we have for the bearish and the bullish moves, and then the reversals. Because you'll see those reversal patterns are real important. Like right now, it looks to me, well, we're on a 2-minute. I'm looking at a 2-minute. It looks to me like we may, not that it's going to be a total reversal, but like it might come back down a little.
Yeah, we'll watch this 1-minute candle. If it doesn't print a hammer here, this will break the 8 period and come and test the 200 first, and then possibly the 20 afterwards.
Yeah, I have them up on my wall. I can't figure out how to get all 3 into my screen.
Yeah, I have them on. I should get them laminated and put them on my wall.
Right.
I have them on in my pictures on my computer. I have one on my screen on one of my computers.
Very, very valuable stuff.
Out. All right, so look, now this could be a fake out for a bearish move with that hammer on that 8. See how that happens? It gives you that real.
Yep.
Starts looking bearish, and then you get that one candle that drops down below that hammer like that. Red hammer.
Red hammer. Dun 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 dun.
Yep.
Gotta love those.
You do.
Now what? Watch
So
this 8 period
red
on a
hammer
1-minute
into
chart.
the moving averages like that when the 20 crosses VWAP. And yeah, we're above VWAP and the 200 now.
So we
All right,
had
guys, I'm outta here.
All right, man. Have a good day. Thanks again for
Have
your
a great
services.
day, Bud. Appreciate everything.
And right off this this regression channel, we did have a setup for a measured move. Not as clean as we're used to seeing. We don't usually see them come out and break below the 8 period so far that they test the 20 period on a leg setup. But it's still pretty clean. Once you got this confirmation back above that 8 period, that set up your measured move right there. This would be the candle to get in on if you're riding this as a trend from about 390.95 on up through the 200. You got flag here, flag here. This is the final flag in this as if it was a 2-leg move. So if it is going to pull back here for 50%er, this is where it would do it. But since you're already in a regression channel, a descending regression channel, typically those will stop right at that angular resistance from the channel that is now angular support. So I always take and draw a line there, knowing that right about through the center of that mix right there is a bear target if they sell this off. But if it breaks out, you get a 3-leg, then you literally just take the bar distance from here to here and run it on top, and that takes you to that 392.30 area.
Good. Okay, so pay attention to that pattern on the 1 minute right there that we just had from 1019, that big green bar, then we get that little spinner, and then we get that big red bar, then we get a green bar, then we get a red bar, and then we get that hammer.
Yeah.
That look right there, that is a bullish look. And I've seen it time and again. And I've gotten faked out by that in the past. That's why I know I've gotten faked out thinking, oh, we're going bearish.
Right.
And it doesn't. And that
Just
hammer
continue on.
slams right into the 8. And then it gives you a little push. And then we've got, that's good range. That's a 3-pointer on both of those green candles afterwards if you were on the MES.
And then to kind of put another piece into that puzzle, there's a 5-minute chart. You got a bar spinner bar set up here.
Yeah.
And sometimes you get a whole bar above, sometimes you get a half a bar above, but the wick is damn near the height of that entire bar. So
Between 2 pivots here too, by the
Yeah.
way. The 391.90
yep.
I have as a VWAP, which is a previous VWAP, which is in essence a pivot. And then there's another one right below it at 391.70.
So
And we're hammering into that pivot right now. Also, that 391.85 is a volume profile. Now we go through that one. We could go to 392.38 next.
So there's a question on a YouTube channel. Do you guys use FinViz as a stock screener? Also, what are the things you guys are looking for in a stock before putting it on your watch list? Price action, price action, price action.
Price action. Yeah, exactly.
If we see a setup that looks good to us, we'll put it on our watch list. But we'll go through and scan. We'll see what the scanner picks up for volume movers, stuff like that. Biggest pre-market gainers, biggest pre-market losers, and we'll figure out what the setup looks like. So, like when I picked up NWTN here, that was a gap down with a quick retracement set up for a dead cat bounce, and that was an easy trade. I looked for the biggest losers, and that was one of them. Easy trade. If I see something that has an easy setup, it goes on the watch list because we know it's very easy to spot the price action, which is what sets up those patterns, and know exactly where the levels of targets we can find within those patterns. It's tradable at that point. So if it's easy to trade, take the easy road. As far as using it for a scanner, yes, it does have that scanner built in. You can find the pre-market gainers and losers like any other scanner with FinViz, but the primary thing we use it for is it automatically logs your trades. So it'll keep a tab on what you've traded, when you traded it, how you traded it, and tell you if it's a winner or a loser. It's really, really good for that too. So.
Yeah, and the Webull stuff we use a lot. I find a lot very valuable, the Webull
Yes.
pre-market scanner. And then like Jeremy says, we go look at it, and if it doesn't have any momentum or volume, then I pass by it.
Right.
And I look for things that have volume and shape. So you scanner is one thing, but then you got to go look through the stock itself physically. In the screen, you've got to look at the chart to see if it's showing you signs that it's something that's going to move.
And then I also like to look at the advancers decliners. I don't know if you
Yeah.
can see that with the glare there, but let me sure if that's showing up. Advancer decliner is great for tracking what you can expect for SPY because you can see when the market is tipping one way or another. You look at all the parts of that index in the advancer decliner. It really tells you a lot. And then, like right now, we're having a bit of a shift where things are starting to advance a little bit. But the decline ratio, it's like 4,648 equities in the S&P are declining and 1,896 are advancing. So the bias is a little bit bearish for the moment. That changes throughout the day, so I always kind of keep an eye on that. And then the other thing with Webull is you get the top gainers and top losers of the day, and those show up here. you can go scan through those and flip through chart by chart and see what you get for a setup. And if you're really good with price action trading, you can instantly just spot those setups, and like just glancing at a chart with enough practice, your lizard brain takes over. You already have a trade plan by the time you're finished taking in what you're seeing. So it's just repetitive price action trading that we recommend. And when you get that handle on being able to spot a setup, you can just go and trade the setup and not have to care anything else about that stock as to why it advanced in a pre-market, why it tanked in a pre-market, or any of that. You don't really need to know. You just trade it. So it's kind of cool when you go into other stuff. Like you can go with most active. You can do a volume scanner. I find myself doing that consistently, especially when it comes to stuff I'm looking to wheel trade, stuff I'm looking to sell options on. So if I go and see something that's got a lot of activity or a lot of shares being traded, that pumps up the implied volatility on those options. And if it's got the right options liquidity, I'll go and sell options on those, or I'll go and trade spreads on them. Why not? Currently, I'm looking at AMD with 25 million shares traded so far this morning, and not a whole lot of price action right now, but this morning it made a nice advance. You can look at, well, do I see this as a regression channel? Let's put this on the grid here real quick, as a matter of fact.
So SPY's market maker move has gone down now about 14 cents from 393 to 392.86.
Yes.
Just shifted. The indicator just shifted.
That's cool. So they're going to sell into this strength here. So watch this for a pullback to about that 391 right here. 391, 20, 25. Sorry, my voice is like failing me this morning because I'm just a little bit under the weather. So AMD, I'm looking.
Get better, would you?
Yeah, I know. I need to get better. AMD, I've been looking at this regression channel setup for a while now. It's a little skewed because we had that big push over resistance, which was really just a 50% retracement from the first half of that channel. Now we're in the second half of that channel, and it's come out of resistance, came up over a pivot. Now it's testing that pivot for support again. What do we do? Do we go back down in this channel, or do we accumulate here for either a bullish move back to $95, $98? Good question. Let's look a little further out on AMD. What are we trading with? Well, we look at control bars on the weekly here, and we've made that range. We've made that range. We've made that range. All those bars right there have been played. So now what? Well, we're retracing. We're a little bullish now, and I like to say that if we're going to test this pivot right here, this 96.50 area, sorry, 69.50 area. I got the let's stick for a second there. You kind of look for a pullback and a setup for another bar push. So if you look at that weekly chart, it kind of tells you what you need to look for on the daily chart. And then you continue looking closer and closer and closer until you see a setup that you can trade. So now we're rounded over on the daily chart. We've tapped on that support zone. I always keep an 8 period on any time frame. It's right there, that bar set up as the 8 period was crossing above that pivot. So we're bullish short term. Let's look at the 2 hour. Ah, nice tweezer bottom right on the open. Okay, that can go and retrace. We know that those are typically going to do whatever the control bars in the previous trend tell it to do. So we've got extensions up to like 74.85, $75 there. We've got another extension that could possibly take it to 76.20. I don't know if that'll hit today, but you can kind of watch for it. And then I'm going to skip the 1 hour and go to the 30-minute chart and say, aha. We're expecting a little bit of a pullback here, at least, that we can get a chance to get in on this action. And then also, the weird thing is...
Good morning, guys.
Morning. The chart kind of skews down as you get down its closer and closer time frames from where you set up that regression channel. And you can see it's right here. That's an angular resistance. So you can just kind of plot that out for the day. If we get that extension, sure, we could go as high as $78 today. It's very possible, but it's going to take a lot of people coming in to rush and buy this thing before that'll happen. Let's look closer. Here's a 15-minute chart. We've got a range expansion happening here on the 15-minute chart that's actually plain to see. Now we've got some price action we can trade shorter term, so we can set up some day trades on this. And of course, add a regression line or a center line. Even though it's a megaphone pattern, it's not quite a regression channel. It is. So when we get these typically at the base of a bearish trend, they tend to break and sometimes we'll set up a measured move, but we don't touch it till we see the break. We'll see the setup. It's here. If we come up across angular resistance here and it gets really bullish at about 74.25, we can almost expect a second or third leg measured move above this regression line outside of the channel here, and the target would be about 76.40. So let's mark a pivot there as well.
Let's see what we got here. We're building on the 200. We
That's a little
wicked into it twice on the SPY and the MES.
That's a little generous. Let's go to 76.15 instead. So if, and we have a nice measured move set up here from the base of that channel to the regression line, we set up an accumulated. That would have been a great entry already for a measured move play. But if it continues to be bullish, we might get a third leg out of that. And always, 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 when you see those, any measured move can sometimes just make a half measured move. So 75.30 is in order for that if it was a half move outside the channel here. So pretty easy to set those up, and then you just drill down tighter and tighter and tighter in your price action until you see the actual setup you want to trade. That simple. All right, looking at SPY, we're just kind of grinding along on the 5-minute chart. We're outside the channel. We've come back and tested that 50% more or less. It's steadied on the 200 period on a 1-minute chart instead. A lot of people would see this as a triple top, and typically those are bearish. But we're going to watch the critical support zone at 391.30 area, 35 area. If it breaks that, yeah, we can exactly expect that as a bearish move. But if it bounces off of there, look out, because we'll get a stretch where this becomes leg 1, this becomes your accumulation, and leg 2 takes us all the way to that angular up here at 393. Sometimes it's like watching paint dry, though. It takes a while on grindy days like this. There's very little volume in today's price action, so SPY's just kind of moping around. It's one of those days. Let me see if I can find.
SPY. My name's SPY.
There you go. Let's see
Came
if I can.
back to test that 200 again.
Oh yeah.
You see that?
Yes, sir.
Wicked into that, not wicked, it slammed or it ran into that pivot. I wish my charts would show me those things, but clearer. Anyway, it ran into that pivot about 391.70. And it ran into another one at 391.90, and now it's come back, and it's in this zone from back at 834.
Hey, weren't you trading at CTMX earlier?
Me? I was just looking at it.
Okay. That might be setting up.
It's hard for me to trade a bunch of stuff at once.
Yeah.
It's just not me. Yeah, if I was watching 6 penny stocks and I was just trading penny stocks like we used to, then yeah, I can do that.
Let me get the chart
This
up on
stuff's
that.
a little bit different.
And that came up on the scanner this morning for movers, I'm sure.
Right.
And let's drill that one down.
There. This is interesting. Here we
I need to
go.
expand my range of my candles here. So
Up, up, up.
we basically completed a 50% retracement of this gap down here from 7.6 on the daily chart and wicked it. So there's some unfinished business here. This could set up a flag and finish that gap close up to about $1.90. Very possible. I'm going to skip everything and go straight to the 15-minute. We can see that looks like a really nice bull flag. A lot of people will see these bull flags. You're not the only one seeing it. Again, do not trade the setup. Trade the break. And when you see these flags, they've got a 60-40 rule. The 60% chance of follow through where they get the bullish move that you're looking for on a bull flag. 40% chance of failure. And when they fail, they love to retrace about down to a key support level. Well, looking left, Don't really see one on a 5-minute chart because it's been grinding sideways forever. This is more or less driven by some news pop, or the short squeeze is triggered or whatever. About $1.36 seems to be the next control zone. That's found right here. So let's slap a pivot on that bad boy. And the idea is, when you look left on the chart, you're looking for control areas or areas of interest. You're looking for big price movement, and it'll tell you where all the pivot zones are likely to be, where all the points of interest are likely to be. And when you see these control candles, you got to realize there's a bunch of volume there, whether it's institutional traders or retail traders. It's a bunch of volume. There's a bunch of people who are going to end up kind of more or less holding bags at that level that they chased it to, and on the way down as well. So whenever you see a bar on the chart, just know that that's a point of interest, because the top of that's going to be a resistance and support zone, as well as the bottom of it. So draw those out. You stick them on your chart, and you'll know exactly where the range is for the big movement of the day, if it's starting to break out and do things, or getting volume, or getting some sort of price action that makes it look appealing to traders. And then there's your extension right here. Let me up the range on this so you can see it better. There we go. There's your possible extension to about $1.39, $1.40. And if we're digging further back, maybe. It's got a lot of crap to get through before it really punches, but let's get back to the lesson at hand here. And I just dragged one of my pivots, darn it. When you get these pennants that form like this, or flags, or whatever you want to call them, always know where the levels are within that flag. So let's go to a 5-minute chart and start drawing some more lines. See, there's about your critical low, $1.45-ish. If it breaks this guy here, $1.42, you can expect it to completely close that gap down to the next pivot. And I make these a little bit different. I'll run them at colors so that I know that those are much shorter term pivots. And like I said, you can drill down to a 1-second chart and find control bars. Once you get the hang of price action, it really is that easy. But where's the range of the bounce that we would like to trade if it was going to bounce off one of these lines? Well, you've got a control bar here at about $1.58. Easy to see. And that is going to be your critical breakout point for this to continue as a bull flag continuation. So if you find a quick reversal on the 1-minute chart around this yellow pivot here, the $1.45 area, that's where you're going to know to pounce. Substructure within this thing on a 1-minute chart is easy to see as well. When we see descending channels, we know they like to knock 3 times before they do anything, and oftentimes they'll do a retracement. Start drawing. And don't forget the regression line, the center line. Real simple 1-minute descending channel. If that decides to hold, it'll probably bounce off the regression line and come out of this channel, and a quick scalp would be a 50% retracement right up to about $1.54. If it fails that, stay away. Don't trade the setup, trade the break. All right, SPY broke its support zone there, that 391.28 that I drew here. And now we're right on that angular support that is skewed a bit between the 1 and 5-minute chart. But look how this price reacted to it. Bam.
Yep. I was watching this because it was given some signs that it might continue, but I wanted to see. And it hammered into, we had that hammer into the 1 or the 200 on the 1 minute.
Yeah.
We had that little tweezer top look. If you look at the 5-minute, we've got those inverted hammers with one high, those 2 wicks with one high lower than the other, higher low, lower high. And they both slammed into the moving average, the single moving average I use on the 5-minute chart. And now we're playing around 391.08 07, which is a volume ledge where price has had a lot of action. So we're going to see if it breaks this down. It looks like it's flagging now.
Your CTMX just wicked out of that channel. Here's the next candle on top of the 8 period. Watch
Look at
this.
that. Ten-second chart is golden.
I got a 5-second
See,
chart
this-
on Webull.
Yeah, I want to see if this closes the bar or below or equal to that previous close on that red bar.
There's your breakout.
Which one? Downward, like I'm talking about right now?
CTMX. Sorry.
Oh, CTMX. No, sorry.
I
That's
pulled
okay.
up a 5-minute or 5-second chart, and it doesn't carry my 1-minute chart line, so I had to draw them real quick. But by the time I finished drawing them, the move's already half over. Watch this, $1.54. As long as I can get through the 200 period, which is important on every time frame. So far, we're holding the 8 period on the 5-second chart, so it's looking good. SPY breaking that angular support on the 1-minute chart, touching it on the 5-minute chart. So watch for a reaction here too.
Right.
At least we got some good examples of price action today. Got a couple things moving.
Yes.
All right, here's your critical point. So that's half the expected move on the CTMX here. And it's right in that 200 period on the 5-second chart. If you got long at about $1.50, there's your 2-cent move right there, your 3-cent move you got if you scalped it out. This is where I would take and scale. So I would take, if I was to have entered at $1.50, 1,000 shares or whatever, I would go and like clip that off down to like leave 1 or 200 shares on and just take that profit against the position and calculate that to a cost basis. And then if it continues to run up, cool. If not, I'll just close the rest of the position and be fine with it. It made that half
Last
move
30
pretty easy.
seconds on this 5-minute candle.
And if you're having trouble seeing the candles on a 5-second chart, something like this, throw down with the HAs to make it a lot smoother.
Hakanashi. I can never say it right.
Heikinashi. I don't even know if I'm saying it right. I don't care. I just
That's why you
I like
said
the price
HAs.
action.
That's why you called it the HAs.
Just the HA. Yep.
It just helps you see it smoother. It is an indicator, though.
Yes. And
It's
sometimes
not a
if
true chance.
if we're trading a
helps.
5-second chart, dude, you don't have time to even think of what the hell the name of that candle is. It's
Right.
like just trade
You're
it.
just doing your stuff. Just go do your trades.
Yep, trade the price action. You don't have to waste time with big words. Seconds count, man.
Man, it's like, you don't drive down the street and drive your car and sit there and name all the things that your car is doing when you're turning the steering wheel.
Right?
You just turn the damn steering wheel.
That's it.
And
it.
sometimes that's what it's like for me with trading. It's like, I don't need to know that. I just need to know this.
And when you get good at driving, and I've got some track experience, so I call myself a good driver, but I'm just skilled at keeping the car between the lines and moving forward at higher speeds than most. Sorry, but
this level here, it's got a break to go down further.
you get an aptitude with experience that comes with car driving. I always tell my kids, like, whenever you see me driving spiritedly, know that you can't just up and do that when you get your license.
Right.
You gotta
Well, you
have,
see, and that's the same way with trading.
Yep, you gotta have some experience behind this. You've got to
Right.
go and practice it and do it in a safe place. Do the crazy stuff on a racetrack.
Yeah.
Here we are.
Jeremy-
You can do your trading on this type of stuff on paper, where
Right.
no one gets hurt if you mess up. you know?
Quick question for you.
Sure.
Since that's a great analogy for folks to realize, because when we're trading with you, bro, everybody feels like a champion. But the thing is, when did you start trading a 10-second chart?
This year.
How many months ago? Maybe Mayish, June.
End of April, early May.
And you started trading in December of 2017.
Yep. Started trading
So-
all together in December of 2017.
Probably new traders, unless they got like really fast brains, should probably be
Well-
aware that that's not necessarily going to happen in the first 3 months.
Right. There's some practicality there, and the
That's
other thing to
right.
know is if your brain is fast and you're a quick learner, doesn't mean you have the accuracy needed for this. You've got to hone those skills. So like you
Right.
can learn them real quick, but man, it takes a lot of muscle memory to develop before you can just up it and make it run smoothly without any hiccups. So
Right, and the lizard brain has to kick in, and you've got to have something to feed it. So,
right.
okay, look out here now. Let's see.
Give it experience.
I'm doing what you're doing now. I'm going candle for candle. Just so you know, if you're listening to me, be careful.
Yeah, you're focusing on the ES with the SPY chart.
Yeah, I'm working on my candle for candle trading.
And
It's very intense.
I'm over here looking for other scalps. Seeing if we can find some.
INM, a call we called out earlier. I think it was one of the, might have been in the watch list. It's moved pretty well.
ASTS is giving us some action too, actually. Nice little double bottom hooking right out the Wu-Tang. Target 690.
So
Can go to 7, but we'll have to watch it.
no movement here. It's going to have to last few seconds on this candle, and coffee's calling. I'll be right back.
Yep. The CTMX trade might be done for a little while. It came out of the channel. It's accumulating sideways on the 5-second chart here. So, you know, if you got in on the break at about $1.50 and closed it at $1.52, $1.53 on these wicks, you did good. If you're still holding that, you might want to consider taking profit before it drops below $1.51. Just kind of, the setup is looking a little weak here. Sometimes you'll get these accumulations where they'll just pop up for a real quick burst, and if you were in size on that entry and you got out but left a little bit on to where your profit will offset your total position cost on the remaining shares that you're holding, that's cool. You can hold on to that, but just know you don't want to give a bunch back, so you know you can scale out of that position as well. I do it all the time. So kind of grinding. It might just push a little bit above the 8 period here. I want to see if this gets momentum and pops out. And just like our 1-minute flags, we see the same level structure within this little flag here. It's an accumulation. Let's draw it together. So we got key resistance right here, $1.52 and 1/10 of a penny. And then we've got a target for range expansion to about $1.53, which it just nailed. And then if it's going to break out, that's where it's got to break out of. And where's the target next? Another level. Look for your control bars. About $1.54, this guy right here. I'm going to skew that a little bit better. And next one we know is 50% retracement. That's this guy. Make that thing stand out so you can see it. That is our expected move, $1.55. And there's profit taking right at $1.54. So if you're a day trader and you're trading something like this, just know you're like one of probably a million algos and or people trading the same thing. They're looking for these for volume movers. They're looking for trading opportunities, and they're watching that 5-second chart. Some of them are watching a 1-second chart. And let me show you what that looks like. This is fun with HA candles only. Try this with regular candles, it just won't show up. You're just going to get gaps and weird little blips here and there, but put the HA on, everything smooths out. And literally, you could go and reference this with a 5-second chart and trade the 1-second chart. If you're very quick, you can scalp these little moves here. And that is that accumulation outside the channel right there. Here's your little descending channel here. It's got the 3 waves here. Look for 50% retracement, which is just barely above that $1.52 move, about $1.52 and 3/10. Structure within structure within structure is what it's about. If you're gonzo enough to go trade a 1-second chart, you've arrived. Nice. We get these and people see these all the time and they act on them, and they tend to overreact to this particular pattern right here, and that's what this is doing right here right now.
What pattern is that?
It is a 1-second chart, inverse head and shoulders. Shoulder, head, shoulder, neckline, break. All in a 1-second chart. Bam, move over, take profit. Oh man, I love price action. It is life. Right back to the 200 period, right on that $1.52 pivot. Damn, that's smooth. So when you've got volume, you can trade a 1-second chart. You can trade that 5-second chart. You can trade that 10-second chart. No volume, don't even bother. But if you got a good setup on a 1 and 5-minute chart, drill down tighter and tighter and tighter. Every time you go down into a tighter time frame, you're going to see the structure within the structure. And if you know what the bigger structure is supposed to look like on the longer term charts, you can trade that smaller structure. Pretty much done with this one. It might break out later on today, but you know, our levels often happen like this. Like Stone and I have been trading penny stocks for a while, and what blew his mind one time is that I would go and draw out all these pivots and all these levels that we could expect to trade to, and the darn things would go sideways through most of the middle of the day, and then all of a sudden towards the end of the day they would start running for those levels. And we already had the math worked out. We already had everything lined out on our chart where we knew where everything was going to go. And it's just mind-boggling how easy it is to look left and set up all those levels and just trade between them. And you know, we give you the hands-on right here inside of our Discord channel, and we will have you guys trading price action like no other in a short amount of time, actually.
Blew my mind a lot. It wasn't just one time. It blew my mind. That's because I was just starting out, and you'd like, you know, back then we had multiple rooms, and you would you'd trade. Yeah, it's boom. It does that, and then later on in the day, you'd be gone, and I'd be sitting there watching everything, and it would hit every level you called out.
That's like magic.
You have, huh?
It's kind of interesting because at the time I was still working a day job, and you know, it was very saddening to get the feedback. Yeah, it hit those levels at the end of the day, and like I was busy working, I couldn't trade it, but I knew where they were.
Or I'd be saying at Jeremy, Polish Spirit of Jeremy, hey, did you see this? Actually, back then, I think you were pushing premium.
Yeah,
your hand.
Pushing premium. I love that handle so much, I put it on a t-shirt. It's not this shirt, but
Where did you get that just scalp shirt?
Back in the day, someone maimed the Nike logo, and it was funny because Nike's chart on a 1 minute chart looked exactly like that. It looked like the swoop, and people were talking about, oh, that's a cool setup. You know, it's like one of the many patterns. That's not really a pattern; it's more of a measured move. But okay, so someone put that in graphics and made a meme with the Nike swoop with candles and they put just scalping on it. I'm not the original creator of that, but it stuck to me. I'm like, more the message, just scalp it. I don't need to give a damn about fundamentals anymore. I'm just going to scalp it. So that's kind of is still my handle in a couple other places that I trend on social media. Like my Twitter handle is just scalp it J, and it was so cool that I wanted to see it on a T-shirt. So my friend Andy over at Mighty Soldiers Trading, he makes he has a connection to Screen T-shirts. So I'm like, dude, I would love to see this imagination come to life on a T-shirt, and I'd love to see you sell a bunch of them. So I said, keep the design, just send me a shirt. I'd love it.
Federal Reserve Board
love to have
announces
it.
termination of enforcement action with
I
Cecil
loved it too,
Bancorp
man. I want one.
Incorporated.
And it went
And
right on the
Cecil
T-shirt.
Bank.
So if you shoot Andy an email over there at Mighty Soldiers Trading, he'll be happy to sell you one, and it's cost effective. It's not going to be like a $30 shirt. It's not going to be. I think he's like $20 or something like that a shirt, which is reasonable. And they're good quality shirts. They're not like cheap ones.
No problem. Whatever the price is, I still want it. I'll send him a message. Thanks.
And he's also got the Pushing Premium shirt too. So I'll we're over at Bullish Bears, we do have a merch line, but it's just sort of there. We don't really do much with it. That's not what we're here for. We're here to teach people how to trade. So if you want, we can add some more creativity to our line, and I can come up with some really cool stuff, I think. So I'll find something funny with the stock market to put on a T-shirt, and we'll make it happen. But for now, we like to give a shout out to a lot of other communities out there, and Andy's a great guy, so we give him a shout. Just like we still give Creed a shout over at Money.net, and we link up and do stuff together. It's just it's like one big
He's one of us.
batch of good communities out there that we'll tie into. And
He's still Bullish Bear Creed.
yeah, as far as we're concerned. he's
When
still
did you
Bullish
pull
Bear
up
Creed.
ASTS?
Just a few minutes ago when it had that nice little Wu-Tang. Yeah, I was
Did you
looking
do
at it.
anything with that? Because I haven't been paying any attention, unfortunately.
I thought about it and I was like, do I want to wheel this thing? The options liquidity still kind of got a wide bid-ask spread on it. So I was like, I don't know. Maybe I'll just grab a bunch of shares and hang on to them for a while because that's an interesting one. Long term, as we were discussing fundamentals, and I rarely trade fundamentals. I trade price action. But once in a while, I'll find a company that might be worth getting into. And, they just put a big satellite array up, and they've got a communication company that they're going to be selling service on. So once the expensive part's done, and that's just it, they launched the expensive part right into orbit. Maybe this company will start generating some positive cash flow and revenue from it. So, we'll see what we get. But right now, it's kind of in the bottom of a big daily range, between like $6 and $14. So, respectively, we can expect a target of $10 eventually. But it's got that kind of look where, yeah, this can be a decent wheel trade, but I wish the options had a tighter bid-ask spread.
Hey, we're in that structure from 11:10 at 11 a.m. If you look at a 2-hour chart,
Yes.
we're in that pivot that I was talking about earlier.
390.
2-hour.
Was it 390.70? I think it was.
I'm sorry. I'm looking at the MES. The MES.
Oh, okay. A little
You
different.
can't do that on SPY. It is a little different.
They were
Let me
starting
go
to
see.
curl off that accumulation, off that angular support from that regression channel. So this is where you can get another, what we call the bonus move, where it goes and retraces the previous high. 392 would be a good target. Sometimes these will work out, sometimes they don't. But when they do, if it hits 392 and starts to accumulate, look for the next leg, which would be 393.50. And that's that 50% of that whole channel. So might get some decent, slow, grindy trades out of SPY after all. But the ES, that's where the action's at.
That's where the action is. That's where the practice is too.
I think CTMX is going to finish running down. Oh, hell, it met that 50% retracement out of that channel right there. Bam. $1.53. I wasn't looking. All right. Well, that one's done. We'll see if we get anything else on the scanner here. But yeah, look at that W bottom on ASTS. That's starting to clean up and run to every target so far. 690, and then control bars at 698, 708. Everything up from yesterday's downward trend is fair game, up to about 50% of it, which is about 7.25. Swinging. That's a swing trader setup right there, baby. All right. NWTN might be setting up here too. Let me get this going. Dun, 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 dun. That thing's kind of grindy, but it's off the 5-minute 200 period with
I
low force.
wicked into the 200 and the VWAP, as did MES is and wicked into the VWAP.
Nice. Rejecto, Cedo, cuz. Down she goes. Let's test that angular support one more time at about 390.40. Let's see what it does if we do this. Well, let me see here. I'm going to finish my my fast break here. I've been fasting my breakfast, and it seems to really help my rationale and my brain function.
Last 30 seconds coming up on this 5-minute candle, as well as on a 1 minute.
How do you time how long the candles have got left? Is there a timer somewhere?
I use the market clock.
Yep. Market clock down to the second.
Down to the second. Yep.
Is that in Thinkorswim, yeah?
Yeah, it should be. It should be your clock.
And
That tells you the time of the market. It gives you hours, minutes, and seconds.
then you got your 5-minute intervals to the second, your 1-minute intervals to the second. All the stuff you need to know
I'll
for
have to
price
find
action.
that on Tastyworks. I'll have to find it.
Or you can just pop it open on a.
Found it. Found it.
You can use your system clock too.
It's all right. It was there, hiding in plain sight.
In plain sight, and the seconds, and that's why when I look at it, I look at the last. I watch the last 30 seconds of a candle of a. I'll watch, especially a 5-minute candle, and you learn a little bit about those twitches when you watch the clock.
1 minute
Yeah, I'm
hammer.
gonna stop doing it.
It takes time. Takes a lot of time.
We got a 1-minute hammer. Let's see if it closes. Got about 10 seconds.
See that?
Coolio. And NWTN's grinding. Oh, hammer failed. Damn, dude. Whacked
Spinner.
Doji at the last second. Gonna get the bar spinner bar right down to the 5-minute angular, which is gonna be that 390.40 target. 5-minute candle still has a lot of time on it though, so.
Yeah, look out.
Uh-huh. I'm just basically sitting here watching grindy charts and chewing food. I guess it's time to sign off of YouTube.
Is it a fifth bar?
That's been my breakfast lately. I'm not sponsored in any way by Cliff Bar, by the way, but I do love them. Although I got to be honest, as an old man, I'm almost 45.
You ain't old.
Say what you
Ryan
will.
and I are laughing at you. Ryan and I are laughing at you, and he laughs at me when I say it.
The peanut butter ones do great for me. For some reason, the chocolate chip ones give me gas.
I don't like the chocolate chip ones either, and I hate that Costco puts them together.
Guys, right.
Yeah.
If I'm making losses, but I'm minimizing my losses to like a cent, even though, all right, okay, I'm not like doing brilliantly at the moment, but nothing's going bullish. Can I consider that to be at least partially going in the right direction, or is that like, no, you shouldn't even be making losses, love?
No, you're cutting
You
your
make
losses. That's
You
fine.
just got to cut them. Yeah.
Yeah, so I've managed to like put on like 2 trades today, and they haven't gone my way, but I've managed to minimize my losses to like 1 cent. Well, at least they're minimized, yeah.
That's really good. And then when you make that good trade and you make 5 cents, you're in the green for the day.
Okay, I'm gonna see this as a small win, but still, nothing's going bullish. Nothing.
There's a couple things
No,
you're grinding on.
it's been a hell of a market, believe me.
ASTS here is going bullish for a short term, at least to the 1 minute.
I'm learning how to take the punches at the moment.
Right. What's COMS looking like? That's a great training stock, by the way. Oh, it's about to fade 6.5 cents. I would watch for support between 6.6 and 6.5 cents on that thing. It might give us a bounce towards the end of the day. That thing's been great for training.
This is grinding. It is just at the base of that 15-minute opening range that I had earlier. Also, we're at the high. We're touching the high of October 31st, the week of October 31st.
Even on a penny stock trading under a dime, you can spot pivots and controls.
So, just an update on my trading. Sorry, I'm just a little under the weather today.
Same.
Oh, you too.
We're spreading,
So
spreading
basically,
germs.
I've been figuring out how to trade in this when the market slows down, and in between, I guess you could say the chop. And I've been doing fairly well, just scalping up and down into the waves there.
Awesome.
Yeah, and I'm very happy about it, man. I'm getting some good returns.
Very
What
good.
are you
That's good to
scoping?
hear. He's scalping the futures.
Yep. You
Oh,
got
is
Yeah.
it?
MES.
I'm scalping the MES, so I'm using the SPY. I'm following the 5-minute and the 1-minute chart on SPY, and then I'm scalping the MES on the 10-second chart there.
That's
And
been
I've been doing very well.
that has been such a easy way to make money. All right then. Well, YouTube, if you guys like what you see, subscribe, hit the bell, tell your friends because we're going to bring more and more. And need a
That's
Cliff
right.
Bar, yeah. My unofficial sponsor.
Funny.
I paid them for this, so technically I sponsored them. But anyway, today's kind of grindy and slow. It's been great for a little training here on a couple of little stocks, but really nothing else doing. Productive day nonetheless, so as long as you can make a green trade a day, or hell, you don't even have to trade. You can just learn. Not a big deal. On a day like today, learning's probably going to be your best friend, but
Yeah, don't do no options. Don't do any options. No
this is-
directional ones.
this is not a good day for anybody to be trading options. I mean, there's some opportunity you can sell some premium, maybe sell some condors in this, but I wouldn't be surprised to see this market do something funny here in a few minutes. In fact, I think I just spotted a diamond pattern. We're on the leg of it right now. Let's draw that sucker, shall we? This one's kind of skewed too, so bear with me here. It doesn't look like a perfect diamond, but we'll adjust it later. With price action, we'll find it. We got range expansion going into range contraction in the base of a channel. Substructure actually takes this line this way. The idea when you see these diamonds is to extend your lines out, and usually price will respect the angulars until it breaks, and then when it breaks, that's when you make a trade. So right about next couple 3 5-minute candles should give us some opportunity here somewhere. But anyway, if you guys look through our history and look at some of our older videos, you'll see that I'm all about the diamond pattern. I love those things. All right, guys, we'll see you tomorrow. Have a great one. I'll be up on MoneyNet's YouTube channel probably around 3:45, 4 o'clock. Hang with Creed, Stephen Orr, and maybe a guest. I'm gonna try like hell to get it to restream onto our YouTube channel. Last time I was having trouble with the stream key or something that just wasn't letting me stream. So I'll try to get it out on ours too. But if not, certainly, you know, I hate to direct it to the other YouTube channel, but you know, if you can't catch it on here, catch it there. All right, guys, see you tomorrow.